What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Respect Her Game. I'm Laura Stickells, joined today by Natalie Noury. Natalie, thanks for coming on today.
Yeah, it's great to be back here. This is the first episode that I filmed with two of us in the studio, so we always like to do the remote calls as well, but it's a lot more of an intimate feel, so I like this. It feels good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, definitely, and we have a really exciting episode planned. We'll have Ally Hammel of USA Field Hockey coming on here in about 10 minutes or so. It was so great to talk to her. She is headed to Paris with that team, which is so exciting for them that they qualified this year for the Olympics and that she made the roster. She was so great to talk to. We talked all about her journey on the national team, her kind of story of just resilience and even being able to make that national team. So that was really great stuff. I'm excited for everybody to get to hear that story as well. And we're going to talk ESPYs for a minute too. But first of all, Natalie, we are both here because it is the All-Star break right now. You are also a sideline reporter in Worcester. And it's interesting you say, like, we're a lot of times on virtual calls. There's not a lot of times that, like, we actually are in the same place, because if you're covering a game, I am not there, and vice versa. So it's nice to be able to catch up in person. How is your baseball season going so far?
Yeah, I mean, to your point, too, I've even heard Adam, Jemai, and Sophia say, they're like, we love working together, but we never get the chance to do it. And you and I we do like quite similar things, and we have crossed paths maybe about 5 times on the job, if that. So it's always special to kind of, come back in person and catch up and see how life is going and how the season is going. But overall, I think that the season's been great. It's been a hot year for sure. But I think, personally with my career into baseball, I had never worked in baseball prior to last season. So it was a huge challenge for me, just trying to figure out how to change the verbiage, the lingo from the traditional sports I've worked with, and all of a sudden take it into baseball. So I think this year I'm finally settling into the role. I really enjoy it. It's been fun to work and learn from you as well, because we always get to kind of chat when we do see each other. But how's your year been?
No, it's been great, and I've loved all of the guys in Worcester this year too. I think the team is so fun this year because you have so many guys coming up from Portland. It just feels like a younger team this year, people that are new to AAA. So it's not like they've been in the big leagues for 4 or 5 years and they're getting sent down to AAA. There's a lot of fresh faces, and I think that creates for a more enjoyable environment a lot of the times. But it's also been so fun this year too, just I feel like I know the broadcast team better. I know Cooper better, I know Jim better, I know Tyler better. And I think that just creates a better environment on air. It's more fun. So that's been a ton of fun. But yes, it was super hot the past 2 weeks, especially. What are your tips and tricks right now for dealing with it?
Yeah, I mean, this is funny because I had just asked Scott Gallen on the staff how the dugout kind of takes care of it. And, they mentioned the ammonia pills and all those things that kind of wake you up and shock the system. But for me, it's funny, but Pedialyte and Liquid IV has kind of been a go-to for me. I don't do well in the heat. I'm not sure about you, but New England humidity really gets to my hair. So sometimes I'm like, it's not even worth trying to do hair and makeup, but you still have to because you're on the job. But for me, it's been tough. I just fan myself on the sidelines. I actually had to kind of take a break at one point the last game. I went and sat in the family room and just sat in the AC for 10 minutes because I was like, I need to cool down, because it was kind of hard to think and try to remember things that are, when it's so hot outside. So it's been tough. I have to say July has been a hot one, but I hope I like when baseball starts turning towards fall, because it's a lot more enjoyable. But I don't know. How about you?
No, it's been hot, and don't feel bad that you went and sat in that family room, because I have done that plenty of times as well, and I'm about to expose Jemai Webster for a second here. So I stage manage for the Red Sox broadcast too, and a lot of times I'm up in the booth passing out the papers to play-by-play and analyst, and Jemai oftentimes will be sitting in the booth with us. So whether it's cold or hot. So you know what? Even reporters at the big leagues are doing the same thing that we're doing. It's just a matter of surviving. We're not useful if we're, having a heat stroke.
Yes. So. Oh my gosh. Especially not me. I get kind of cranky. I always say I'm cranky in the heat, but I do fine. I figured it out. But it's not bad to take a break, because it's you kind of become delusional sometimes when it's that hot, but I don't know. You do what you got to do.
Yes. I actually wore a dress for the very first time on air ever on Sunday. I literally never worn a dress before. But I decided Sunday was the day to do it because it was 94 degrees, 75% humidity. And I was like, I'm not going to make it if I put pants on right now. Right. So I was like, you know what? I don't know. I just feel a little self-conscious in a dress for some reason. I can't really explain why. I love it when like I see other women wearing dresses. Like, you're wearing a dress today, you look beautiful. For some reason, when I put on a dress, I'm like, I look like an idiot.
Oh my gosh.
But no, I wore one on Sunday, and I'm glad I did, because I felt cool, and once I put it on, I didn't think twice about it. So
yeah, you know? I mean, it's the wardrobe changes from it. I mean, you could probably attest to this, from hockey, working in an ice rink, to working sideline on a baseball field. It's so different. And we probably, I don't know what your closet looks like, but mine is, half of it's in my car to begin with. But like the boots, the shoes versus like the sandals, the dresses, all that kind of stuff, it's very different. So it's like learning to adapt with the outdoor sports. And just to what you said earlier, like it's, you know, the broadcast a lot better. I feel like I came in halfway last season. Now I feel like I kind of even know the team better. So it's easier to kind of form those trusting bonds, the camaraderie, the relationship, where you can just kind of approach someone with no problem and say like, hey, can we talk about this? And it's just kind of been nice to see that, you know, pay off. Just the relationships are stronger. And again, I think we have a great core there with Cooper too. He's awesome. We love Cooper Boardman. Yeah. But yeah, it's been a great year. And again, like All-Star break, it's been nice. But in a way, I don't know about you, but I'm kind of excited to get back.
Oh, for sure. Like I love Polar Park. Like I really do. I have so much fun when I'm down there. And whenever I'm not there, I like wish I was. So yeah, I was thinking this year especially, like, oh man, I'm definitely gonna miss it this year when the season's over. I was actually at the end of last season, I was thinking at the end of the season, I was like, man, like I'm kind of sad that this is over. Yeah. And this year, like even just thinking about the season being over, I'm like, oh man, like I'm gonna miss everybody. Okay, well, I know we talked a lot about attire already on this episode. Yeah. We'll get into that even more in a minute when we talk fashion at the ESPYs, but the ESPYs happened last weekend, and we are going to get into it a little bit more. I think there was one thing that we were kind of even talking about before we got on air that I'd love to address, or just, it was almost more of a thought experiment. So Caitlin Clark, she won the award for the best record-breaking performance. Clark obviously set the record for the most NCAA career points scored in men's or women's basketball this season with 3,951. She also won the award for the best college athlete, like no surprise. But she was the first woman ever to win that award for best record-breaking performance. And it got me thinking. She even said it actually in a post-game press conference with the Fever. She couldn't be at the ESPYs herself. And she said, I probably shouldn't have been the first woman to win that award. How did Serena Williams never win that award? And it got me thinking, like, who are some other women that could have won that award? I wrote down a list of a couple of my own. I know you have some too. Who's your first thought?
Well, it's, you know, it's funny, and it's kind of tragic to look at, but you know, this award has been given since 2001. And you look at some of the people who have been recipients of this award. You've got Tiger Woods, Michael Phelps with 3. You've got Peyton Manning with 3, and then Steph Curry, LeBron with a couple, and it's just crazy that this is the first time that a woman has ever received this award. And you know, we probably have some overlaps on our list, but I'll say, at least for me, you could always look at Angel Reese too. I mean, she's set records just this year alone. I know she was the recipient of another ESPY, but you know, to set the double record there, she's someone who could have been in the conversation. Simone Biles, I mean, she's always someone worth talking about too. She's done so much. She's got the record 37 medals between the world and Olympic medals. So it's there are a couple names that really stand out, and then I know someone that we can talk about as well is Katie Ledecky. So, you know, what do you think about her?
Oh, well, Katie Ledecky has broken a world record 14 different times, the majority of which is surpassing a mark that she set herself. So that is shocking to me that she hasn't won it. Like, you just watch any of her races and she's like lapped people in the pool 3 times. Yep. So it's like, how has she not won this award too? Yes. Like, obviously that's also a fellow Stanford alum. There you go. Katie. But anyways, yeah, so she's definitely somebody that I think could have won the award. Somebody else that, actually 2 athletes that crossed my mind, Lindsey Vonn and Michaela Schifrin for World Cup titles, between men or women. So Lindsey Vonn had that record for a while, and then Michaela Schifrin actually passed her. And those are 2, especially Lindsey, just because I feel like she was such like a figure in sports for a while. Michaela Schifrin obviously has been great the past couple of years as well, but surprised me that they didn't get any really consideration or talk for these awards. And then one other one, because you said this award was first awarded back in 2001. So I went back and was like, okay, who are some other people that like maybe I was too young to think about? Mia Hamm. So U.S. women's soccer legend. And until 2013, she held the record for the most international goals scored by any player, male or female, in the history of soccer with 159. And she held that record until 2013. So she's somebody that definitely could have won.
That's pretty cool. And actually, when we talked to Ally Hammel, she was someone who mentioned that Mia Hamm was an inspiration for her growing up because she's like, I want to be like Mia Hamm. I want to go to the Olympics someday. So it's kind of cool how you can see that name kind of has gone through history, generations, and still holds just as much weight. But yeah, it's great. Again, you know, Caitlin Clark commented on this. It's great to see that women are starting to get this recognition, especially with these awards. And I'm so happy for her that she won it. I mean, it's super, super deserved.
Yeah. Well, because we had such a long interview actually with Ally Hammel, we're going to have to fly through these last 2 points for the ESPYs. I do want to mention them briefly, but Dawn Staley, if you didn't watch it, she gave a really amazing speech after winning the Jimmy V Award for Perseverance. She actually talked a lot about pay disparity and inequity in her sport, and that's definitely worth a listen if you haven't gotten to see it already. We also wanted to talk quickly about her favorite outfits. What is your first one that you want to bring up? I know we sent a ton, but actually, you know what? Okay, yeah, you go first.
Yeah, I mean, my first pick was Allison Felix. I think I submitted a photo for her, but we can take a look at that in a second. But I love Allison Felix. Oh, we're going to actually start. Okay, here's Jaylen Brown and Kaiser Gondrzic. And I think, did I say that right?
Gondrzic.
Gondrzic. Okay. Tough for me to say. But I think they look great. I mean, that's a statement. That's a power couple right there. I'm someone who really likes to wear black a lot, and I think every time I wear it, I look chic, but definitely not as chic as they do because they walk in and they are turning heads. I love this look.
Yeah, no, I love the lace for Kaiser, and I want to point out, Kaiser is an athlete of her own. Yep. She was the fourth overall pick in 2021 in the WNBA draft and was on the Suns roster Chicago Sky roster at the beginning of the season, was recently released. But clearly she is an athlete in her own right. So, but they look great together. Awesome. Let's see. One that I thought looked beautiful was Livy Dunn. Of course, she's already just a beautiful person, but she was wearing this gold pleated dress. So beautiful. She was there with the whole LSU women's gymnastics team as well. But love that look. I don't know if I could pull off that color, but I don't know. Maybe I should give it a go. Should we have the similar hair color?
Yeah, I think you could totally pull that off. You talk about dresses. I think you could pull that off, Laura. This kind of reminds me of the moment from Hunger Games when, gosh. I'm trying to think what movie it was, Catching Fire or something, when she comes out and she turns into the bird. Yes. I don't know. I'm not trying to say she looks like a bird, but she looks beautiful. It's a statement, and this was one of my favorites as well. Yeah,
it looks like she even might have some gold shimmer on her body too. Okay, I think we have time for one more. What's your other favorite?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think I do want to mention Allison Felix. I think, Paige Beckers showed up in a suit, which I think is always kind of cool when a woman shows up in a suit. I love wearing suits. But Allison Felix, I just love her because she's someone that I looked up to when I used to run track and field. I remember she used to wear the compression socks up to her knees, so that's something I adopted and didn't wear quite as well back in 8th grade, but I think she just looks fabulous. I love her smile. She's beautiful, always a really nice person whenever you could see her with the media and everything, but I just think it's a simple white light pink dress, and she could wear a tablecloth and still look good. So true. I mean, I love this.
The best part about the ESPYs red carpet is that they're all athletes, so of course anything they wear they look amazing in. And speaking about fashion and outfits, Ally Hammel will be coming back from Paris with a lot of is it Ralph Lauren or Ralph Lauren?
I've said both in my life, but someone can write in and tell us.
Let us know.
Ralph Lauren.
Ally Hammel will be coming back from Paris with a ton of Ralph Lauren. We had such an amazing conversation with her, talking all about her journey to Paris. So I hope you guys enjoyed this conversation as much as we did. We are so excited to be joined right now by Ally Hammel of USA Field Hockey. Team USA qualified for the Olympics this year, and Ally Hammel was named to that roster. So Ally, first of all, congratulations and welcome to Respect Her Game.
Thank you so much. I'm super excited to be here.
So we're so excited to talk to you about your journey. We want to talk to you about, first of all, how you got to the national team and also how the team qualified for Paris this year. So I think we want to start for you kind of back in college. You were a 2-time Patriot League Defensive Player of the Year, 2-time All-American. You were clearly a standout at Boston University. But at what point did you realize that you might have an opportunity to play post-college?
So my USA career, I started trialing for the national team back my freshman year, I believe it was. And I actually got cut from the U21 team, which was tough, definitely. But when I started to get into the USA pipeline, I was like, oh, this is so amazing. This is everything that I've ever wanted to do. And I retried out for the development squad, which is kind of like the bridge between the U21 and the national team. I played on that for 1 year. It was like my sophomore into my junior year, and I loved it so much. I had just the best time. We went on a trip, actually played the Chilean national team in Chile, which was just such a great experience. And then from there, it's like, you play and you're challenged at the level of play. And then things start to click for you. And in that time, like from my junior year to senior year, I really saw my development take off, and I realized, okay, this could, be something that I could continue to do. And I was fortunate enough to get called up to the national team the spring of my senior year. So I joined August of 2019. And yeah, I mean, it was just such a great experience, again, like super challenging. But yeah, in those moments, like my senior year into when I first joined the team is when I realized, this could be something I could potentially do for a long time.
Now, Allie, talk about the mental persistence that you had to display through that time. You talk about not making the team at first and then continuing to believe in yourself to the point where you started to believe in yourself on a more, I guess, full-time basis. So who or what really kind of helped you stay persistent through that process?
So throughout my U.S. career, like in the junior pipeline, a lot of the coaches that I was able to interact with, they talked about, making a mistake and then moving on from the mistake. And that was something that I really had a tough time learning. But once I understood that, you make mistakes every day in from moment to moment, you could just, you make a mistake and you have to move on from it. And it's all about like the next 3 seconds and what you do after that. And of course, there were moments like I doubted myself and I doubted my ability. You look at players from Massachusetts. Field hockey is not necessarily our sport. We're like big into ice hockey, big into soccer. But you look at Pennsylvania is such a huge hotbed for field hockey. So coming from Massachusetts, it was like I needed to really break into that U.S. team because, you're not super well known being from Massachusetts. Sorry, my dog is squeaking her toy. Of course.
It's all right.
Yeah, so just like small little things that, you have to just figure out how to deal with. And don't get me wrong, it's extremely difficult. Like you go into the program and everybody knows everybody because they're all from the same area and they've been growing up playing with each other for so long. But, just having that belief in myself and belief, from my coaching staff, especially at BU, and my parents really pushing me along to, say, okay, this is something that you can do, helped me get to where I am today.
Allie, you mentioned the field hockey staff at BU. Sally Starr is the head coach there, and she's a field hockey legend. She's coached at BU now for 42 seasons. So what advice did she give you during this time?
Yeah, she was just like, go out there, continue to make mistakes, continue to, enjoy it, have fun. That's something that's big in our program at BU is like find the joy every single day. As you're learning and growing, it's so important. So yeah, she was huge in just, teaching me the ropes, teaching me, okay, what are the, what are the avenues, how to get to the national team. And continuing to just be you and have fun out there.
Now, playing for Sally Starr, I know that she was also an encouraging force to you, even trying out. So what was it like developing under her? And I guess, can you kind of walk us through that conversation that she had when she told you to go for it?
Yeah. Playing for her was amazing. I mean, she is a legend of the game, has been involved, in field hockey, but, other sports as well. She's a legend. And just so supportive in everything, that we wanted to do, pursue in our different careers. My class was incredible. She really just sat me down and, same thing with Tracy Paul, the assistant coach, and was like, hey, this is something, you have the skill set, you can go do this. And again, like, that's something coming from Massachusetts, I didn't fully understand what that looked like. So coming from her, she was like, you can do this, you have the skill set, and you need to just go out there and, put your head down and grind and work as hard as you can, take everything in that you can, everything that, different coaches tell you, and just continue to have fun. And I was like, okay, let's do it. Might as well try. So, yeah.
You've said coming from Massachusetts, and you didn't really feel like you knew if you could do it, if you could really be on this national team. And you said you started at the bottom. It kind of took you some time to really solidify your role on the team. But what was the moment when you realized that you really belonged?
So, going through, I would say about my first 6 months on the team was really hard because, it was huge. It's a huge step up from college to international play. You, again, have to be pushing yourself every single day. And it's not just physically, it's mentally, it's, skill is tactic wise. You have to be on your game every single day. So the first 6 months was really tough for me, and I was challenged a lot in my playing style, in my physical shape. And then COVID hit, so we were unfortunately away from each other for about 1.5 years, I want to say. And then at that point, we started playing games again, and I worked really hard to make sure I was in the right physical shape to be playing. I pushed myself, to work on my skills. Something big in my game is I love to be able to hit down the field. So working on that, making sure I was working on my vision. And I could definitely see it all pay off in those games that we started to play. I think it was May of 2021, something around there. So it was a good chunk of time that we had off. But it was really awesome to see, all the work that I put in start to, come to fruition, and see how I could influence the game, especially at the international level. So it was pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you touched on your personal development there, because obviously that's important. But you also mentioned something Laura and I wanted to bring up, just the difference between your college level of play and then entering this international environment. You mentioned the personal side of your game, but externally, what was the biggest difference that you saw when you entered this international stage?
The pace of play is just so much faster. You're playing against, it's not 20-year-old girls anymore. It's 27 to 30 to 35-year-old women that have been working hard their entire careers to get to this point. And you look at different styles of play. For example, the Dutch, they are very fast forward, do a lot of give and goes, love to lead ahead. And that's something that's coming from the collegiate level. They have an amazing system over there where they start playing very young in their club system. And, you have 18-year-olds playing with 30-year-olds. And, they have such an established program. So, getting used to that pace of play was definitely difficult, but it's once you get it and you play in the system every single day, you really start to adjust, which is pretty cool to see, even now as I am a little bit older in the program and I see new players come in, I see their development over time. And, you know, it's pretty cool being able to be like, okay, listen, that's something I experienced too, and it's natural. And eventually you will get there.
Wow, that must be so rewarding for you to kind of see that come full circle. That's really special. We want to definitely dive into the Olympic qualifiers because that sounded like it was a really exciting tournament. Now, for people that don't know field hockey or Team Olympic sports, not only do you have to make the Olympic roster, but the team actually needs to qualify for the Olympics. The country needs to qualify for the Olympics. And for field hockey, only 12 nations get to compete in the Olympics, and you need to qualify at one of these qualifying tournaments. Now, at the time of your guys' qualifier, which was back in January, you were ranked 12th. And like I said, you're ranked 12th in the world. And like I said, only 12 nations make it to the Olympics. So at the time of that qualifier, like, what was your guys' mindset going into the tournament?
Yeah, so to give you a little bit of background, every region has their own qualifying tournament. So we played our Pan Am Games back in October of last year. And we have Argentina in our region. Argentina is ranked number 2 in the world right now. They are absolutely incredible. So playing against them, it was like we were so the underdogs going into that tournament, and we knew that. But our goal was to get second or higher. And that was like a non-negotiable for us for placement into the Olympic qualifier or direct qualification into the Olympics. So going into that tournament, you know, we're ranked 12th. The Olympic qualifier is in India, and we knew it was going to be a super difficult tournament. We were playing one of the top-ranked seeds, in India first. But our biggest thing was understanding, like, there is nothing wrong with being the underdog. And sometimes when we look to reframe pressure, it actually is such a understanding that, like, the pressure is not on us, it's on them. You know, playing India in India, they're expected to win this game. So for us, the biggest thing was reframing that pressure, understanding that there was no pressure on us to win. Nobody expected us to go there and, you know, place second in the tournament. So just playing free and, you know, playing with joy and connecting, you know, with each other, and understanding that no matter what happened, we were going to do it together. Win, loss, anything in between, you know, it was always going to be together, us, the team. So that was our biggest thing going into the tournament.
Something that I also think was really special about that game against India was that India was the team that knocked you guys out of Olympic qualification back in 2021. So what was it like to start off that tournament by flipping that narrative?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. So back in 2019, I was on the team during the Olympic qualifier, but I wasn't at the Olympic qualifier. A couple of my teammates that were at this past Olympic qualifier were at the 2019 qualifier. So it was really amazing to see those, like, my teammates be able to overcome something that I think there was so much anticipation around that game. And we knew it was going to be really hard playing India in India. Like, you know, the fans are on their side, of course. You know, there's a ton of just hype, anticipation to come out with a win in that tournament and knowing, like, this isn't going to be our best game. It's going to be messy, and it totally was. But coming out with a win, I think, you know, seeing their faces, it was so gratifying and just, you know, so, like, emotional to be there and have that moment with them. Like, it's almost like overcoming a fear, you know, overcoming something that's so, you know, like, close to you. So it was really cool to be there for them in that moment and, you know, have that momentum building for us. You know, so we could continue to play into the tournament and, you know, show everyone who we are.
So I read somewhere that continuing on in this qualifying round, you had a couple of shutouts as well, and being a defensive player yourself, what do those shutouts mean to you and the team? And I know that you kind of mentioned that was kind of structure was an identity of your team. So if you could kind of talk about the way that those shutouts unfolded and what they meant to you and the team and just the identity.
Yeah, so I mean, it means so much to us. Like going into that tournament, again, it's against some of the highest ranked opponents, and going into that to, I think thinking about having a shutout like that and multiple shutouts in a row was, unheard of for us. So, yeah, it was pretty cool. We did some really, really hard work and had some very tough conversations around, okay, what does the other team like to do? Where are they going to try to attack us? And two, like, okay, I'm playing in the center, what is my role and what is like a non-negotiable for me? And it was the same thing for everyone around me. So to have that like connection piece and that feeling like, we play so fluidly, it's like one group moving all together. And I know that sounds weird, to have that even, for our goalkeeper behind us, but yeah, we moved as one group. And I think, every single person did their role and did their role so well. Didn't go above, didn't go below. It was like everything. That's what we expect of each other. And I think you'll see that definitely going into this Olympics. We are that team. We love structure. We find it like, very easy to play into that structure. And we talk a lot about how connection is our magic. So yeah, it's a big thing for us. And I think you will definitely see that going into the Olympics.
Okay, so in this tournament, you guys win your first 3 games, then you're playing Japan in the semifinals. Now, winner not only goes to the finals, but they get this qualification for the Olympics. So what was the vibe like in the locker room going into this game?
Yeah, so the momentum for us was definitely building over time. Post that New Zealand win, it was like, so just for context, we played New Zealand in a couple friendly matches before we went to the Olympic qualifier. So we knew each other inside and out. And coming off that win, I think the momentum was just building, and a lot of us were talking like there was no other outcome for us. Like you could see it, you could feel it. There was no other outcome for us other than winning. And I think previously for us, you could have seen us lose that game and say, okay, we're okay with that because we made it this far and we weren't expected to make it this far. But that's something we prepped for. We talked a lot with our sports psychologists of, okay, what should our mentality be going into that game? And again, it's, stepping back, and is a higher ranked team than us. Technically, we are the underdog and nobody expects us to win. But just because of that doesn't mean, we can't expect ourselves to show who we are. And that's, something that we worked very hard for and have been trying to flip in our game for a very long time. So to see that, even through like, we go down 1-0 and it's a really hard moment, but then all of a sudden you see us start to connect again and to find each other and to win corners and then score 2 really excellent goals off corners, which again it's a huge thing that we've been working on. It was so amazing to see and amazing to feel. And again, it's like you're in the moment and it feels surreal, but you're just moving. Like I remember people asking me like, what were you thinking in those moments? And I was like, I wasn't even thinking, I was just moving. We were so fluid. We were moving as one. Yeah, it was pretty cool to be a part of.
That's awesome. And you said, you used the word earlier, non-negotiable. So I love the grit that you display, and you can tell just the way you're talking through it that you guys were dedicated to making this happen. And something that's kind of more of a funny question that I read about you is that you won a couple state championships in hockey. But you mentioned you always wanted to be an Olympian. You watched the movie Miracle the night before every championship game. So, and I think you mentioned that this qualifier kind of felt like that movie. Did you watch this movie the night before?
I didn't. I really did. I was like, okay, I know the storyline. I understand how it goes. And it really did feel like, something we were overcoming, something that we weren't expected to do. We were one of the lowest ranked teams in that entire tournament. So, you know, and we did talk about it as a group, understanding that, you know, we are, again, the underdog. And, you know, Miracle is such a story of the underdog overcoming so much. And, yeah, it was definitely something we thought about, but not something I watched.
How would you describe that moment, though, when that clock ran out and this team was going to the Olympics?
It was like, oh my God, you guys are going to make me emotional. It was like there were people that weren't even on this squad, you know, aren't on the team, have retired, that have been fighting for this for a very long time. And to have that moment, it was so amazing, so emotional. I remember just standing there and feeling, again, like it wasn't real, but it felt like it was just right in the moment. You know, there was, again, no other option for us and no other option for, you know, our program, for everyone that has been through our program. It was exactly as it should be. So it was pretty cool, again, to like see the people that went through the loss in 2019, to have that moment for them. Like, I mean, what it's all about, you know, it's why we play the sport. So it was really amazing.
Okay, so just because, though, you're on the roster for that qualifier doesn't mean that you're going to be on the roster for the Olympics. So How did you find out that you were on that Olympic roster?
So we were notified, I want to say it was Monday, June 10th. And it was so much anticipation. I mean, it was 5 months for us of basically trying out every single day. And we had new players brought in, we had new players evaluated. So it was all about, you know, fighting for your spot. I was, you know, I think the roster came out at like 8 a.m. on Monday, and I was like wide awake, you know, at 5 a.m. sitting there, and my boyfriend was like, okay, do we need to go? Like, do we need to take a walk? Are you okay? And I'm like, I just, you know, it's the anticipation of it all. And finally the roster comes out, and it was, you know, just a feeling of relief, of course, but, you know, so much excitement. I was able to spend time with my family. I was home back in Duxbury, so it was pretty cool, you know, for them to experience that with me. You know, everything that, again, like they've been fighting for with me. It was pretty amazing, and it felt just like such the right moment. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
You know, you said you felt relief. I'm really curious about that, because there's a lot of things you could feel in that moment, you know, excitement, just like joy, but why do you think you felt relief?
Well, again, it's like the anticipation of it all, and, you know, something we talk about and, you know, our staff talks about is that nothing is guaranteed, and international careers are short. So again, it's like when you have the moment, you have to seize it, or you're going to lose it. So for me, going into that, you know, I can be an impact player, or I can be a player that's on the bubble, but again, I never know, and I need to make sure, you know, it's like you have to see your name on the roster before you're like, okay, this is real, this is happening. So yeah, it was just a feeling of like, okay, finally everything that I've worked for in the last 5 years is coming true, and it's like I can take a breath and just enjoy the moment. Not that I didn't enjoy it before, but again, it's like the anticipation, the stress of it all. It's hard, you know, being evaluated for so long.
Yeah, well, Ally, you're going to the Olympics, girl, so we're very happy for you. I'm sure, and you mentioned your boyfriend being there as well. Pretty great timing for a lot to happen. An Olympic medal is not the only hardware that you might be sporting. We notice you've got a ring on your finger, so you're newly engaged. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. my boyfriend thought it was the perfect time to propose on the 10th. So I said, sure, okay, this is great. No, it was great timing. We unfortunately haven't been able to get home to see my family just because of our schedule and how it is. So he was like, talking to my dad, said, I think this is the right time. When we were back up in Massachusetts at the beginning of June. And it was so nice to spend that time with my family, be able to see them, spend time with them, and then, of course, celebrate a couple of things. So, yeah, it was awesome.
No, that's actually crazy. You find out that you're going to the Olympics and that you get engaged on the same day. That has to be like the most incredible day of your life.
Yeah,
but
it was pretty cool.
What are you most excited for about Paris?
Honestly, I know there's everyone says going and seeing all the different athletes there and meeting people. I think for us, showing up and, showing everyone the culture we've built and showing everyone that we are an elite level program and we're here to stay. We're building something that is going to, have longevity, over the long term, and we don't mess around. That's what I am most excited for, to show people what we're made of.
We don't mess around. That sounds perfect. Like Team USA. We don't mess around. Now, I notice instead of marching in for opening ceremonies, you'll be sailing in on the Seine River. So what will that be like? Have you heard anything as to how the itinerary is going to go, or what are you expecting?
Yeah. So we are actually not going to opening ceremonies because we do have a game the next day. And that's something it was a very tough decision as a team, but we decided, we're not here to just go and have fun. We're here to make an impact and, again, show people what we're made of. So unfortunately, we won't be going to opening ceremonies, but we're very excited to see it all. I think it's going to be, again, one of a kind, a first of its kind. And we're super excited to wear our Ralph Lauren opening ceremonies outfit, spend time with Team USA, get to meet everyone. And then I have a feeling we're going to be doing something, just us. So we'll see, look out on our Instagram. I'm sure it'll be some sort of opening ceremony, something. So, yeah.
When your guys' competition ends and you'll have a little bit more time to relax, is there a sport that you're really looking forward to seeing?
All of them? Is that a good answer? Because I am. I mean, track and field, so cool. Gymnastics, again, so cool. We actually share a facility with the Taekwondo athletes, so seeing them compete would be pretty awesome. Again, rugby, water polo, it's everything. Beach volleyball, things that I can't see every day. I would love to just go and be a part of it and experience it. That's what I'm most excited for. I'm going to go to as many events as I can.
Well, Ally, we are truly so excited for you. I'm so happy for you and for Team USA, and I know that you guys are going to make the U.S. proud. Thank you so much for joining us on Respect Your Game.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I feel like we could have talked to Ally Hammel for forever. I mean, she was so sweet. We even talked to her for a little bit after the cameras were off, just about how do you even pack for going to the Olympics? I can't even imagine what that experience would be like. But truly, such an inspiring story, just talking about somebody that really had to fight for her spot on that national team, and now she's an Olympian. So such a special conversation. Yeah,
she was great, and I know that we're front row seat at the Ally Hammel show here as we come into the Olympics. We're really pumped for her. We've loved having her on. Just to make things a little timely, we did record that interview last week, and as of right now, I assume Ally is probably still in Ireland, because she mentioned that this past Sunday the team was flying there. Her coach was from Ireland and was planning on doing a little touring, sightseeing, all that. But you can tell she's just super excited, as she should be. And I think this is just a great story to hear about. So if you don't know much about Ally, definitely tune into the Olympics. You'll follow her on social media, she told us. But yeah, she's just a lovely person. And, to hear what's going on in not only her professional life, but her personal life. It's pretty great too. So we're happy for her.
It really got me like fired up too for the whole Team USA field hockey team, because like just how they were able to qualify for Paris this year, and the fact that like they were really on the bubble, they were on the cusp. Like it wasn't a guarantee that they were going to make this Olympics at all, and just the fact that they really were able to, like, they were underdogs going into their Olympic qualifier, and hearing her talk about that was really cool to hear from that perspective. So yeah, definitely inspiring for me.
Yeah, no, and I think she's one of 2 New Englanders heading out there, so it's kind of cool to have that New England representation for us being in New England. So we're really excited to hear everything that she's gone through, and just I'm sure that it's a full circle moment just to see your name out there and see it all come together. It really does fire you up, because she talks about putting on the USA jersey and what it feels like just to represent the country. And, you know, they're zoned in. There's no doubt about it. They said they play the next day after opening ceremony, so they won't actually be there, which we heard. But it's still, like, you can tell how zoned in, how focused they are. And I think we can expect a really, really great level of competition.
Yeah. I mean, I got chills multiple times during her interview and hearing her talk.
Yep.
Okay, we're going to transition here quickly because we're almost out of time to Wins of the Week, which is a segment that I've really enjoyed doing the past few weeks. And I can kick us off. So I know we talked a little bit about Caitlin Clark earlier in the episode, and I want to give a shout out to Angel Reese, who set the new WNBA record for consecutive double-doubles. She set the record for 15 consecutive double-doubles. The previous record was 12. Now, that streak did come to an end on Saturday when Chicago lost to the Liberty. But my win is obviously not that the streak ended, just the fact that she was able to set a record like that in the first place in her rookie season.
Yeah.
And also, like, only, 20 and some games into her WNBA career. Like, that is awesome. So that's my win of the week.
You know what? I love this. I love how this worked out, Laura, because my win of the week was Caitlin Clark being the recipient of the SB Award this past week. It was just the best record-breaking performance. And you do have to credit Angel Reese. I love her. She's so good around the rim. She's a threat out there. But Caitlin Clark has done some wonderful things as well this season, and I just think her being the first woman to receive this award since its inception in 2001 is just going to set the pace for who might be nominees and recipients for years to come. So I think this is kind of a turning point for recognition as well in women's sports. Just like, all right, well, the first one's happened, so let's just go from here. And I think that's a huge win for women's sports as well.
Yeah, well, this Rookie of the Year race, too, for the WNBA is going to be super exciting this year. My only sadness is that Cameron Brink isn't in it because obviously she tore her ACL. Yep. But, man, like, what a draft class this year in the WNBA. So it's going to be a fun rest of the season.
It will be. It will be. I love the competition we're seeing, and it's exciting, and it's something that is drawing a lot of attention to a lot of people like myself. I'll expose myself. I was not a WNBA fan prior to probably this season. I've really started to watch and, keep up with stats, and like you're talking the rookie race. So it's just been fun, and I'm pumped to see where it goes.
Yeah. Well, Natalie, thank you so much for joining the show this week. It was great to have you. And for everyone watching, come back next week. We'll have another episode of Respect Her Game. You can listen to this wherever you get your podcasts.